everybody. We're here. We got Flat Hat Videography with us again, doing a couple more little videos. And this is something that I'd been wanting to do a video on anyway, and then I'm usually by myself, so hadn't got a chance to, so we're gonna do it today. And what I want to talk about is just how these Hackamores work and what we're really doing when we're, and you'll hear me say pull on them, and you'll say, well, you're never supposed to pull on a Hackamore. No, you're not. You're supposed to bump them, but it's just the way I talk, so get over it. But I wanted to do it specifically with this horse. This is a Morgan. He's a great big son of a gun, and I actually swapped him into a snaffle bit here not that long ago, but he's probably got like 50 rides, and most of them have been in the snaffle, or in the Hackamore, pardon me. And I was thinking about it the other day riding him around, just how light and soft he's got in it. And he's not built to be light or soft. You know, he's just not got the conformation to be super soft. But he's gotten that way, and it's because of how I've used this Hackamore. We're inclined with a big horse like this, and I have a little bit larger diameter Hackamore on there. It's a little bit bigger than a 5/8. I'm not good enough at math to tell you what that means. So it's a little bit bigger diameter. It's pretty stiff. And that's not because of how he is, other than the fact that it's just because it's long enough that it's going to fit him. That's mostly why I'm riding him in this. But we're inclined to think, you know, big strong horse, big old thick neck, big old head. Our subconscious is going to make us want to try to pull harder, and we don't need to, or bump harder, or use more. We don't need to, because just being big doesn't mean he's not sensitive. Some big horses aren't as sensitive, some little horses aren't as sensitive. So we still need to just be real conscious of that bump to get that softness in there and to get that pretty carriage. And think about the fact that with this Hackamore, I'm not pulling him around. Oop, we missed our spot. When I pull this way, it's not because of my pull, it's because of the way that Hackamore rotates on his face. And this one you can see it really good because it's a big Hackamore. And so you can see that when I touch there, it rotates on his bridge of his nose, and that's where I've taught him to give. I've taught him to give to that rotation, not to give to this deal, manually push him over, which is what I think a lot of people think is going on with a Hackamore. You know, you put the first few rides on a colt in a halter, like a rope halter. Well, that is what you're doing. Is you're just, that whole rope around their head is just pulling them over this direction or pulling them over this direction. But when you get into a Hackamore, people don't realize how much different the two tools are. This has leverage, this has signal, this has a lot of stuff going on that a rope halter doesn't have. And so it's the rotation on his nose that I'm getting all the signal with. And even here where I'm walking him around, framing him up, I'm not pulling with these reins and pushing down on his nose to get him to frame up. I'm bumping this back and forth and rotating that on the top of his nose and getting him to give down like that to that rotation. Because he already knows from this exercise, he already knows that head needs to come down in order for him to get around. So by doing the same thing, going straight, I'm just bumping that back and forth, putting that rotation on his nose, and then he frames up a little bit. So those are just some of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize is going on with the Hackamore. There's some mystery involved in it, and that mystery is on account of the fact that was kind of a weird departure. That mystery is on account of the fact is the old guys that really knew how to use them didn't really know how to talk about them very good. And then a lot of people that are pretty good at talking never really realized how they actually work. And it's not that I know something nobody else knows, or read a book that nobody else read, or anything like that. you got to spend heck of a lot of time using one of these before it really starts to make sense what all's going on. I've been using a Hackamore since I was a little kid. I've been using a Hackamore since I was a little kid, and heck, I didn't know what I was doing with it most of the time. It's just what I was told to use. You pull on this rein, they go that way. You pull on this rein, they go that way. And it wasn't until I got to spending a lot of time around some really good hands, and they couldn't tell me what I was doing different. They could tell me I wasn't doing it right, but they couldn't tell me I wasn't doing what I needed to do different. So I just had to watch them and figure it out, and watch them, and then spend a lot of time alone kind of putting it all together. And so that's what I'm trying to do with you guys in these videos, is tell you some of the stuff I figured out by watching those guys that people aren't going to get a chance to watch anymore because the better part of them are dead. But there's even this is a pretty advanced exercise, walking with a counter bend there. Pretty advanced dressage maneuver there. But this colt can do it. It's not something I'm usually doing by this early on. But even there, I'm just bumping that around and giving him the signal with the rotation there. And that's all. He's learned that signal from those first few rides where it was just go, stop, turn. You know, so we go. And then to teach him that signal, well, he's got to stop in order to turn. And he figures out what that means. You know, and that's what, in my round pen, that's what the first 7, 8, 10 rides look like for the most part. A lot of trotting around, and then you got to stop to turn, which is go, stop, was almost there, stop, turn, which is back into go as soon as he turns. And so that's all we're learning with that Hackamore at first. It's just that simple of an exercise that then creates all this other stuff. This right here, you know, he's starting to learn a kind of a decent little haunch turn there. At least he's got the math figured out anyway. That was my fault. But that haunch turn maneuver, it's the same thing. It's still the go, stop, turn, and it's the exact same signal on his nose. And so we're not wanting to haunch turn. I built the fix before I ever built any of the rest of it, before I ever taught anything. That signal is go, stop, turn. And so there I can fix it. And by planning things out, now when he doesn't want to do a haunch turn, I don't have to go back to square. I can go back to square one. I do go back to square one, but I don't have to go clear back to the round pen and clear back to a lot of the rudimentary stuff, because I can just take once and just pull him around and remind him what that signal means and get him around there. But all of it's from not making a big deal out of things with this Hackamore, not giving big hard pulls and big hard jerks, and not bang bang bang. You'll see these guys banging around on their head to get that, you know, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm just doing it light, but I'm not jerking around to get that head down, which leads me to really, I guess, what the whole point of all this is. You know, you try to get better, and so you get around guys that are better. Well, sometimes the only opportunity you've really got is to like go to the snaff a bit and watch those guys that are winning, or go to the reining fraternity, or go to any of these and watch those guys that are winning. And we were talking about this yesterday. You know, you'll go there and you'll see Zane Davis on a snaffle bit horse just go back, 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 and get that horse's head down and get him all framed up and drive him up into everything. And you go home and you say, oh, okay, well, he's one of the best there is. That's what I just saw him do that. That's what I need to do. And you don't realize that for a year, he didn't do anything like this. It was all like this. It was all soft and to one side. Not in a Hackamore. Zane's not really a Hackamore guy. He's a snaffle bit guy, but it works the same. He did a year's worth of that to get that bend and to get that frame before he ever, and I can get away with it. I can give little bumps, but before Zane ever said, come here, he spent a year going quiet and easy. And I'm just using him as an example. Ron Rawls, Phil Rawls, any of those guys, it's all the same. So with these Hackamores, just pay attention to what's going on. You got a tool with a lot of leverage, and it's a lot easier than you think to make their face sore. And then as soon as their face is sore, then they don't want to play anymore. And that's what I've got right here, where he's not wanting to do this haunch turn. He says, that's a little sore right there. And I don't like it that when I mess up, that thing kind of bumps me too hard. So ideally I'd go get a softer Hackamore. I don't have one that fits him, so I went to a snaffle instead. But that's kind of all I had to say, had planned out to say. We were talking about how usually I spend 3 days thinking about stuff. This one was off the cuff, so that's that. Hope somebody got something good out of it.